Hi, this is Julie Langenkamp-Muenkel, and I'm here at TDWI's World Conference in Las Vegas. I'm joined by Paul Flach, who is the Vice President of Enterprise Analytics at Stream Integration. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
One of the themes we have seen, and I'm sure you've heard it over and over again here, is big data and what it means. What are you personally seeing in the big data market right now?
We're seeing a lot of adoption of big data. We're seeing implementations in a pure play big data method. So what we're seeing is when it comes to a single data point, a lot of implementations, very successful implementations around a single data point. So for example, if you look at the wind turbines, a single data point looking at weather. If you look at neonatal care, a single data point in terms of statistics on children. When it comes to social media, again, there's a lot of adoption on social media products out there. It's something that it shows well. There are good visualizations. There's a good front end for social media products. But again, we have to remember it's a single data point. And we've done a lot of research talking to thought leaders in the marketing area. And that's what they're telling us is it's a single point. It's a data point. It's a good data point, but it's not the data point. So what we're looking forward going out there is how do you consolidate data points? We're looking for more multi-data data point implementations of big data.
And are you seeing these in practice? Do you have some examples of how this is happening right now?
We are. Some of the areas we're seeing it, again, when it comes to social media. How do you extend the value of your social media? What you need to do is you need to extend it in terms of more reliable data. Social media has high veracity. So you run into a lot of problems. We have a lot of challenges with social media. When it comes to natural language processing of social media, we still have a lot of semantic issues. The idea is to start with some data that's more reliable. So when you start with good quality internal data, more traditional structured data, then you consolidate that with your social media. Then you can bring some credibility to that data. Or you start introducing more data points. You start looking at location data, consumer expenditure behaviors, demographics, internal segmentation data. Now you've got some real value that you're getting out of that social media.
Excellent. So presumably if people are looking at a single data point now, the next step would be to bring in more data points and kind of draw correlations between them. Do you see examples of this in practice?
We are.
Or is that forward?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's what requires a lot of patience and appetite from a lot of clients is that exercise to integrate with your data warehouse environment, because that's what requires. You can't do a single implementation of Hadoop. You now have to figure out how you're going to have Hadoop talk to your data warehouse. How are you going to bring those multiple data points together? So that's the challenge that's out there.
And are these primarily very innovative companies that are taking this next step, or is it just people who have identified a need and so they're forcing themselves to go that way, or are they just on the forefront of these adoptions?
Yeah, I think the companies that are doing it are the companies that really know how to frame the problem, because that's where it starts. Companies that are trying to get into the big data game and are playing with the tools, they don't get very far with that. The companies that we see are being successful in terms of multi-data points are saying, we know what the problem is, we can frame it, and now we take a relentless pursuit of solving that problem. So it means looking at the 3 C's that drive value in big data. We have to figure out how to collect the data, we have to figure out how to consolidate it, and then we have to figure out how to consume it. So those forward-thinking companies are looking at strategies around how do we go out and get the data that we don't have that will solve this problem. How do we look at the data that we have that has had a little meaning for us in the past? Maybe we need to clean it up and get some real value out of it. And then they're looking at consolidation strategies. So how do we bring together real-time and batch data? How do we bring together the different varieties of data so that we can bring those different data points together? And then the consumption side of things. And that's where they're really solving the problems, because it's very difficult in big data world to go to somebody with the math that's behind it, because when it comes to advanced analytics, you're really selling the math that's behind it. It needs to have a face on it. So there are a lot of visualization challenges around big data. So these companies are learning and adopting new methods of visualizing the data to get meaning out of it.
Excellent. Excellent. And then as these technologies are developing and as the space is continuing to evolve, what personally are you most excited about in this new world of big data that we're facing? What, for the next year or so, what do you see as the most exciting area?
I think it's exciting to see how, what people are trying to solve with big data. People are coming up with problems that in the past they were hesitant to try to solve because they felt they didn't have the technology to do it. So we're seeing clients step up with some really interesting problems. We had a client come to us who was involved in a hostile takeover, and they want to use big data to predict when they were ripe for a merger and acquisition, or if they were out there as a hunter, who would be ripe for a merger and acquisition. So they came to us with that problem, knowing full well that they didn't have the data, not knowing where to get the data, but that we'd have to determine that. So those get to be very exciting problems. You go out there, you figure out where you're going to get the data, what kind of techniques are you going to use to solve it. To me, that's what's very exciting about the industry.
Great, great. Thank you very much for sharing your insights, and I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.